last time we were dealing with your depression, and we are going to help you with that. But today we're going to use the work of Martin Seligman. He's developed a technique called learned optimism. It can alleviate depression, improve your mood. Actually, it can improve your overall health.
Oh boy, oh boy.
This approach will also give you tools to avoid recurrences of this condition in the future. Seligman says your depression is a result of what he calls your pessimistic explanatory style.
Well, yeah, that is stating the obvious. We as humans are pessimistic. We are born into a basic state of conflict. Life and death forces operating on us from both sides. We are not aware of the reasons for our behavior. We are not conscious of the hatred we feel for our family, friends, and even our lovers. Of course, my theory of psychoanalysis is pessimistic. That is the nature of the beast.
Yes, I understand what you're saying, but in this session we want to focus on you. I want you to consider your own explanatory style. Seligman says when you encounter adversity, it always sets off your beliefs, your expectations, and interpretations of why things have gone wrong. Does this make sense to you?
Yeah, on an unconscious level.
Well, the first thing we do, Seligman says, when we encounter adversity is to try to explain it. These explanations we use to interpret adversity initially affect what we do next. Are you following?
Well, of course. We experience things as children, and as adults we repeat them again and again and again. Yeah.
Let's focus here on Seligman's work if we can. When our explanatory beliefs take forms of what he terms personal, permanent, and pervasive factors.
Personal, permanent, and pervasive.
Right. That makes us give up and become paralyzed. In previous sessions here, we've operationalized your behavior, and this seems to fit. Paralysis is a good word to describe your behavior recently, isn't it?
If you are referring to my inability to function in the personal and professional circumstances, yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
One could interpret my hypersomnia as an unconscious attempt to have a greater opportunity for dreams, which I could later interpret to get to the root of my dysfunction.
I know what you're talking about. Psychoanalysis, yes, that's very valid, but I want to point out to you that research by Gould and Glum and Seligman and others shows that self-administered treatments like this one we're talking about today do stand a good chance of success. On the other hand, research tells us that psychoanalysis doesn't do all that well with depression.
Yeah, there you see. The world has turned against me. My theories are useless. This is why I retreat. No one loves a 150-year-old psychoanalyst from Austria, especially one who's dead.
Let's stop here and look at what you just said. The world has turned against me. Now that explanation is personal. Everyone against poor Sigmund. My theories are useless forever. That explanation is permanent. And what was the last one? Nobody loves a dead psychologist?
Did I say that?
That's pervasive. Let's lose the dead part for now. That's a whole other can of worms. It's pervasive because how people feel about you as an individual has very little to do with the rest of your career. See, you've taken your negative or pessimistic feelings and beliefs from specific areas and generalized them to broader aspects of your life. Do you see what I'm talking about?
Permanent, personal, pervasive, pedestrian, I say. There's no pizzazz, no flair. Eros, thanatos, libido. Now that is some colorful terminology, yeah?
Right. Can we talk about Seligman here? Seligman, right? Okay. We're going to help you recognize this kind of thinking when it arises. Seligman uses an ABCDE model.
A, B, C, D, E. Like the first 5 letters of the English alphabet? Oh, your Seligman is a deep thinker. Yeah.
That's because it's easy to remember. A refers to an adverse event or situation that you face. B is your beliefs about the event. C is the consequences of those beliefs. Let's try it out right now. Can you recall an adverse event or a setback that happened to you recently?
Well, the old noodle is not what it once was. Let me think here. Ah, your newspaper, the Wall Street Journal, published an article that said my theories were interesting fictions. Fictions! The Wall Street Journal mit ein Fiction, mit der Schluss.
Right. I understand.
Yeah.
Okay, right. That's your A we're talking about right there. See? A harshly critical article.
Yeah.
What was the belief that immediately popped into your mind from that?
Well, that I was 150 years old and dead, and that I could not argue with that Schweinhund Wall Street Journal author.
Good. That's your B, your belief. You feel helpless. That's what Seligman says a pessimistic explanatory style will do to you. He says pessimism is a straight line to depression. Now let's look at your C, the consequences of those beliefs for you. How did you feel? What was your energy like? Did you feel like doing anything?
I felt powerless, kaput, defeated, no energy. I felt like I was 150 years old and dead, if that's not redundant.
See, Seligman says this thinking style leads to depression. This ABC model that he's come up with will help you recognize it when you're doing it yourself.
Defense mechanisms.
Well, do defense mechanisms reduce anxiety? Can they make you feel better? I'm inviting you to call it whatever you'd like if it makes you feel better. I want to stick to Seligman. This is an active new way to make you feel better. Let's move on to D and E. D is for distraction and disputation. Distraction simply means you take your adverse belief and tell yourself you'll consider it later. Put it off for now. By then, it'll lose its potency.
I'm 150 years old. You want to talk about loss of potency? Oh, mein Schweinstück ist kaputt.
No, can we talk about that maybe in another session? I mean, not that it's not important.
Impotent? Perhaps
No,
you have
no.
some issues.
No. I said important, not impotent.
As you wish.
No. Let's get back to Seligman. Okay, that's not me. Okay. Disputation. No, right. Disputation works much better long term. I mean, when you have a negative belief, you find evidence to argue it. What are the real implications of the belief? What are the alternatives? Is the belief even useful for you?
Well, it sounds like you're suggesting a little self-analysis.
In a sense, maybe, or loosely, if that's how you want to look at it, if that's how it helps you.
Whatever turns you on, dude. I'm with you. Word up.
I think a demonstration of this would be helpful now. We'll use another of Seligman's suggestions. It's called externalization of voices. You know, sometimes it's hard for us to argue on our own behalf. So what we're going to do now is we're going to reverse roles. I'm going to be you, Sigmund, and you're going to be one of those critical colleagues of yours.
Okie dokie. I will play the critic and you will be Sigmund. Yeah. All right, Sigmund. Why must you stick with your antiquated theories? They have absolutely no basis in science. They are pure mythology.
Good. Sigmund, that's great.
You are no scientist at all. You only use your case studies to support your theories. Why, the rat man? Big deal. Give me a break.
Okay, hey, that's good. That's really good. That's the kind of thing we're looking for. Now I'm going to be you. I'm going to be Sigmund, and I'm going to dispute those arguments you just came up with.
Ah, now I understand. This is how you earn your exorbitant fee. Ha-ha!
Are my theories unfounded? No. There's a social cognitive psychologist named Barg who reports that 95% of our behaviors are unconsciously determined.
I told you so.
And another respected researcher, Damasio, a neuroscientist, says my insights on the nature of consciousness are in line with the most advanced contemporary views in the field of neuroscience.
Aha!
Right. In research and technology today, and this is an entirely new century, my original views are now finding support. I was very far ahead of my time.
I certainly was.
And where do colleges and universities start, even today, when teaching psychology? With my theories of personality, with Sigmund's theories of personality. How do you like that? How does that make you feel?
Well, I believe that's my line. I feel relieved. I feel much better. I feel vindicated, and so on and so on.
Right. The word Seligman uses is energized. That's the E of his ABCDE model. Think of how you feel when you've just won a good argument. You feel energized, exhilarated. You know, that's how you're going to feel when you learn how to master this technique of his.
I feel alive. I'll give this to your Seligman. That is some accomplishment when your client is not only 150 years old, but also dead.
Right. That's good work, Sigmund. We're going to continue with this again next week.
Well, auf Wiedersehen.